we can just kind of jump right in and then let the conversation guide us. But I want to just start by introducing everyone. This is Maria and Maria Barca, and she's an owner of two salons
Two
or
salons.
two salons in New York and Brooklyn, and we're going to talk about the hiring process. Tell me a little bit about if you were talking to a new stylist, or maybe you're not talking to, but if there were things that a new stylist, whether you're new to the industry or new to Brooklyn, and you wanted to come in and you wanted to work at Self Salon, what we tell me a little bit about your hiring process, like what new hires to expect, or what what your system is, if you have a system or whatever.
I have a system. It's definitely nothing stuck in stone. It's based off each person I meet. But, first off, I like to see a solid resume.
Okay.
I also like to interview them, even if it's not solid, because you never know. You never know who you're going to meet. And a positive impression for me is most important than actual work on paper, because I feel like they can be taught, with our education. They can learn from other stylists working aside them. So I think more positive impression for me is more important, because you're going to have to work with this person. And, working with a negative person with a solid resume and, have all of the cutting down, coloring down, it's just not going to be healthy for the other staff. So I'd rather sometimes take the positive person but has less experience and train them and, build them up. And then I have more success with that. I've had some bad experiences and I've had good experiences, more good than bad. So yeah, we do a 90-day trial. We have the stylist work with us, and if we see things that we're not really um, about, and we try to correct them and we give them opportunities. But we do a 90-day trial, and if we don't see any changes, then it's not a good fit.
I like that. When you think of training a stylist, what are you thinking of?
Okay, so after COVID happened, we finally put a structured class together, where it's every Tuesday. It's open to stylists and assistants, and they can bring their models in and work on something that they're struggling with. I like Sean. Sean's our educator right now, and she works with them where she talks with consultations. She sees where they're at, and then she goes from there. So some juniors that we have come in are more experienced at other things. So she kind of does where it's like open, where you can bring in a model and work on what you feel that you need help with. And it could be haircuts, it could be barber cuts, it could be color. And if she sees that they're having more problems on one area, she'll continue them bringing the same model and the same, let's say balayage every Tuesday. So it's been good. It's every Tuesday, it's open from 10 to 2 p.m. and anyone's allowed to join. Even senior stylists, we'd love for them to join too.
Okay. And how how often would you say that you get somebody that's pretty fresh out of school coming in and applying to work there?
Well, we get a lot of those, but they don't want to be an assistant. They want to be on the floor.
That's interesting. Do you okay, so you get a lot of those. Why? I think you're close to a school, right? You're not far from a school, or
we're close to a school. I think it's a Rojo. He has a salon in school, so we're very close to them. We do get a lot of applications. They train their assistants really well. I definitely work with them. They're highly trained, I would say. They go through like some aggressive training there. So the some that I do get, they are experienced enough to become a junior. I've done that in the past where I'd say you can be a junior on, these scheduled days, and the other days you have to assist.
Okay, nice. So that's cool. I like that you're flexible and dynamic with the new hires.
I don't want to shoot anyone down. I know what it feels like to be shot down. I know what it feels like to feel like everything, but I like to give people chances, I would say. I don't want to be shot down, and I know someone else doesn't want to be shot down. So I guess I treat people I want to be treated. Sometimes it doesn't go in my favor, but I'd say I have better experiences at being nice. And
Well, I like the idea of meeting people where they're at.
yeah.
I go into some hair schools as guest speaker, and I talk to the students about what they're looking for and what their expectations are. And there there is a different opinion than there was, say, 10 years ago about, or a different idea about what it's going to look like getting out of school and going onto the floor. And the expectation to start doing hair and making money and working with clients is definitely a lot higher than it was at one point. So that's one of the things I'm curious to hear about from not only someone like yourself that has a salon and trains people, but also hearing from those rising stylists as well. Um, do you so in a candidate, what would you say you were looking for in a candidate? I mean, you said you mentioned it slightly earlier, but not specifically. Like someone applying, so say someone comes to apply for you, what are you looking for, if anything, when you're deciding, like, what makes someone attractive?
Like if they're going to become an assistant or a junior or
I
just,
mean, like
I mean,
how often are you getting into conversations with someone that's relatively new out of school that doesn't want to be an assistant, wants to go on straight onto the floor? How often does that happen? Like the majority of the time that they apply?
I would say in the last year, I haven't had any. Um,
Okay.
I haven't
Okay.
had.
So then let's just say someone coming to apply that doesn't have a book, they're coming to work with you. So that could require some level of training depending on where their skill sets are. And it also means that you're going to be building them. So what are you looking for in someone like that?
I mean, they have to blow dry hair. They have to
Okay.
be. They have to have confidence with
Okay.
clients. That's important because clients smell that fear.
Yeah, for sure.
uh, um, I guess. I mean, washing hair and massaging and all that, we can train that. Just overall
What about attitude?
positive impression. Yeah, they
Yeah.
got to have. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't want somebody who's going to come in and act as an assistant. I've had this happen where they wanted to come in, be a hairdresser right out of school, and we had them come in assistant, and they were down for all the training and was down to do shampooing and blow dries. But then on the other hand, behind the scenes, behind the door, it was, I hate this job. I don't want to be here. And all that negative stuff started coming out, and you see it and you hear it. So that's something I don't want to happen. I want to make sure the right candidate knows what they're getting into and knows that at the end there's going to be what's the word? An end to this, a good end. You're going to get on the floor. You're going to have clients. You're going to get walk-ins. You're going to build with us. You're going to train with us, continuing education. But, I've had that happen where I've taken a chance on somebody and I guess they weren't prepared for the assisting process because it's hard. You're being thrown around from 8 other stylists. You're blow drying, you're doing shampoos, and you're not cutting, you're not coloring, you're not doing what your passion. So it's hard. Some stylists think they can do it. Some assistants think they can do it, and some can do it really well, and they're patient with themselves.
And do you think that would you say that you inform them of their expectations, like what it's going to take for them to get on the floor, and what type of like for example, if you said, like, some people might be like, oh, you have to like do these cuts and these colors, or some people might be like after 6 months, or whatever, like, do you feel like you explain what your expectations are and then they agree, and then they get into it and then realize that they don't like the assisting? Or do you think that they just tell you what you want to hear, hoping that it'll be different once they get hired?
Oh yeah, you nailed it right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that happened a few times with me. I just promoted one of my assistants back in August. She's doing really well. She was my assistant for a year, and she's doing really well. And right now it's a little bit of slow patch right now because New York is, what's going on here.
Yeah.
But she made it. So, I know it's possible with hard work, dedication, and it's hard. I'm not going to say she didn't have some times where she was crying and where she didn't believe in herself, but she's doing really well,
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I've had some success with some assistants.
So I've had some students say that there wasn't a clear path. They weren't clear on how they would go from day one assisting to on the floor.
Uh-huh.
And they felt like they would start working. Actually, quite a few students have told me this, that they start working somewhere and um, they were told they'll go on the floor, but it wasn't like super clear, the process, or it was like super high level. And then time would go on, and then let's say 6 months will go by and they would feel like they aren't getting promoted. Or some would be like a year would go by and the person that was there before them still isn't on the floor and no one's approached them or talked to them. And when they're asked about going on the floor, they're told, "Oh, we're waiting for there to be room," or something like that.
Mhm.
Um, would you say that you're pretty clear about laying out what they are to expect?
I will say my experience as an assistant, I was in that situation where I was told I can assist. And then after a while of assisting based on my progress, and I would go onto the floor. That didn't happen. I was too good of an assistant to give up. So our owner did not want to give me up. So I know what it's like to be in that situation. So I try to be as clear as I can be, but you also don't know what that person is taking in and processing.
Totally.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah,
so I'm clear because I don't want them to be in that situation. And I feel like a lot of assistants are used. Can I say
yeah,
that word? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
But I was a good assistant and I made money. So I really didn't complain. I'm going back into 1997, 90, so it was a different time then. But yeah, I try to be as clear as possible.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's good. So all right, how about what other things we do? Is there anything that a candidate has ever done that sticks out in your mind that you could say that really impressed you? Like any during any interviewing or anything like that? Maybe they came with something or they followed up with a thank you letter, or I don't know, anything that just sticks out in your mind.
Okay. So what really stood out to me was one of my stylists that is currently working with me. She's awesome. She wanted to, after we interviewed and we did the trial process, she wanted to observe the salon and sit down in the front and just watch us and just observe. And she sat there for hours and observed and chose us as we chose her. And she made the right decision of doing that because you don't know when you started a salon, you don't know how to maneuver in the space and where things are and how people work and how we roll in the salon. So she sat there on a Saturday and just kind of observed us. So that really stuck out to me. I love that she did that. And she is working with me and she's one of my busiest stylists.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I like that. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I like that. It's never happened to me before. Can I sit in the front for a few hours and watch you?
Yeah.
And I was like,
I
"Ooh,
mean, so
okay."
smart. So smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was nervous. I was like, oh my God, this girl's gonna be staring at me all day. But I just acted like she wasn't there and we just did
Yeah.
our thing and we were busy that day. So it was nice. Thank God we were busy.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
That would
Yeah.
suck if we were
Awesome.
slow.
Okay. So how about in general, like we touched a little bit on the attitude of some of the younger stylists, just to try to bridge the gap between the business owners and the rising stylists. The young rising stylists tend to be younger and in the Gen Z right now, which is arguably different in perspective when it comes to like what work means and what training means and expectations and I would like young stylists to understand how they're viewed, and I also want owners to understand how how they're viewed. Yeah, like both ways. If I'm a rising stylist and I know what the owners, like salon owners in general, think of me, then it'll help me when I go through my interviewing process, so that I know what things to like be aware of, or maybe to come out straight out and address. Like for example, if I know I don't want to go onto the floor, I could just put that right on my resume, or write, one of the first things I say and be like, look, I know that in general, people right out of school will have to do some sort of assisting. I don't know if that's what you do, but I wanted you to know right now, I don't want to do that. Attitude could be, or like way, or things people say. Like for example, I've talked to some young people that said, well, I just want to like build a clientele and then go out onto my own on my own.
I've
And
heard that.
I'm like, you might want to have keep some things to yourself, and
Mhm.
and I mean,
I
it's
said that once on an interview and I didn't get hired.
no,
So
yeah,
yeah, I said that on an interview, but I've heard a stylist say it's just an investment to work with a salon. I'm going to take my clients elsewhere if I'm unhappy. You know,
right,
you know. I've heard stylists come in on interviews. One said to me, "I want to do continuing education, but I don't want the educator to take the comb out of my hand when I do something wrong."
okay,
Okay.
yeah,
So, it was just interesting to hear these things. I'm like, okay, so, obviously that bothers you,
right,
but, there's a reason why the instructor takes the comb out of your hand to show you something, it's
right,
not to
right,
say, give me that. I'm going to show you. It's take the comb. I'm going to show you how to section it.
right,
So that just, those are things that are left in my mind after the interview. Like, is that one going to be an issue? Or is that,
right,
not going to be an issue? Do I
right,
want to even go further to see if that's going to be an issue?
right, right.
But he was upfront with it. So
Yeah.
I like that. I like that he was upfront with it.
Good. That's good. Like know what you're
I knew not to
know-
hire him after that. No,
you did or you did not hire
no,
him.
I didn't. There were some other things, but there was, a few things that red flagged me. But that was one of them where I was like, okay, but now there's a situation where I have to speak to an instructor on how to treat this particular person because he had a bad experience somewhere else. So it was already like work. I like things to just be easy and just go with the flow. You know,
Right.
I don't know.
Uh, all right, yeah, that helps. If you were going to give one piece of advice to someone that's coming to apply at the salon, or even if it's someone that's listening that doesn't live in New York and they're about to go apply to a salon, what is like the best piece of advice, or the most important thing that comes to your mind to tell them to do in preparation, or how to talk to during the interview or anything like that?
Just be honest.
Okay.
Just be honest about what you're looking for. And yeah, I mean, I've met a lot of people where they tell me what I want to hear. And
Yeah.
at this point, having a business for 16 years, I already can see those red flags. I think people who've done the hiring process and the interview process can see it automatically. I mean, at least I can now. So just be honest, and be confident. And yeah, I mean, I'm positive.
Cool. How many applicants would you say you get on average?
It's
Like,
hard because this year has been tough. I haven't really maybe got like a few, maybe like,
so maybe not this, not
yeah, definitely not
pre-COVID.
this year. It's only 4 this year. Oh no, I'm not gonna lie. I got 6 this year. I would say maybe double that, maybe 12 in a
So
year.
like about one a month.
Yeah, I would say there's someone always, hey, I'm at this salon and I'm unhappy and I want to come and interview with you, or
Okay, that's
hey,
that's a pretty good inflow pipeline right there of talent, potential talent. What do you think is the reason why you get that many applicants?
I they always start off with the formal email of I love your space. It's the
Okay.
place where I see myself growing. I love how everything is so clean and open. Um, I love, your area. I love the location. I love your website. All those things. I read your bio, so I guess those things stand out. Over the years, I've fixed a lot of those things. I've gotten stylists that worked for me and then said, "Oh, I hated your website. I think you should change it." I've gotten all crazy things.
Well, it sounds like the biggest reason is your digital presence. That's basically what I just heard you say, is like people see you without actually physically necessarily being there. They
Yeah.
can see that you look good on online, and then when they come and they see that the real space matches the online space, that's probably just a reinforcement of the aesthetic. So that's good. So I guess that would my follow up question with that would be like, there's I talked to quite a few salon owners who don't that have a hard time getting applicants and finding people to come in and work, and so I guess like other than I think a pointer for them is a really good pointer would be to make sure their Instagram and their website really represents them, and if you're not getting a lot of applicants, it could have something to do with it. Is if maybe you need to revamp the way you look to to the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have any
I've
other
done that.
ideas? Do you do any sort of like outreach or go to schools and talk to them or
No,
anything? No. So it's
no.
just primarily your digital present your digital presence.
Yeah, or my stylist or colorist know someone from another salon that is hiring and looking. I got during the pandemic, I got one of my stylists to send her friend over from the city, and it's been great. He's an older stylist, more experience, and it's been a good uh, transaction. But yeah, I think word of mouth also.
Okay. Well, I'm hearing you saying, correct me if I'm wrong, you get an inflow of a decent inflow of applications. So if you want to work at Self Salon, you should come correct with whatever sort of like, do you look at you like resumes, you said. What about like portfolios, pictures and stuff like that? Is that what you mean when you say resume included with the traditional paper resume?
Traditional paper resume, and I like when they put their IG account or their website. I have people who have their own separate website, and then I have people who put their IG hair page. I do like that. We do go through that as well.
Okay.
And I just like to see what type of stylist they are. I never want to judge someone's work, but like I said, I always meet them, just because you never know. On paper and in person is completely different. I like to meet all of them. If I'm not meeting with them, the manager's meeting with them. And if the manager gives it a go ahead, then they have a formal interview with me. And we kind of like change it up a little bit based on my schedule.
Okay. So come correct. Bring make sure you have a some sort of portfolio online, whether it's a website or an Instagram account, and have your resume. But also make sure that you really think about what the expectations are as they're presented to you, and don't don't overpromise and underdeliver.
Mm.
Uh, if you're going to come and work there, and you will have access to training. I think that sounds pretty good. I think this was awesome. Like I think this was like an incredibly valuable conversation, and I'll be able to use it for multiple purposes. We talked about hiring and interviewing. Both for salon owners as and managers as well as applicants to a salon. I think could get a lot out of it. So that was pretty awesome. So thank you for sharing all that.
Sure. Thank you.
Cool. All right. Well, tell the
Always
family I
good.
said hey.
All right, I will.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.